Welcome to the Vosch 1900 grapple saw with a powerful 4-motor rotation unit, probably the highest torque on the market. It has a heavy duty saw box running a heavy duty bar with a 3/4 pitch chain. It has a 350 bar holding pressure heavy duty grapple. All the functions are entirely independent and controlled from the machine.
This is the Vosch toolkit that comes with every Vosch grapple saw. In it are the pressure gauges you need to adjust the parameters and check the pressures, and a few small tools to maintain it. This must always stay with the grapple saw and the operator, as it is essential in its operation.
We are now going to show you how to check the back pressure on the saw motor. The back pressure controls the saw speed and the power with which the bar is pushed out and its cutting power. So the first step is to remove 1, 2, 3 bolts to remove the rear cover. Now you will need the 400 bar pressure gauge with the magnets on the back and the test pipe. Connect the test pipe to the gauge, screw it on, needs to be connected to the test point on the top of the saw motor. Screw it on tight. Next, take the hose and the gauge, run it over the top of the saw box and connect the gauge to the front of the saw box so it's clearly visible from the cab. If your 150 bar on your gauge is incorrect, you will need to adjust the rotary valve on the side of the machine by undoing the lock nut at this end and then slightly rotating this valve either up or down to increase or decrease the pressure. This valve should only need adjusting if it has been knocked in a tree and the paint marks do not align, or the machine has a malfunction. So next we're going to check the accumulator pressure. The accumulator returns the bar home into the saw box. So to check the accumulator pressure, you will need this gauge out of the toolbox and your test hose again. Firstly, ensure that the tap is fully closed. Then connect one end of your test hose to the gauge end, and then connect the other end to the test point by the accumulator. You are looking for approximately 18 to 20 bar on the gauge. So if you have a problem with your saw bar not returning fully into the box, as we've got here, then you have almost certainly got a leak on the accumulator side of the pipework. Check the hoses to the ram and to the accumulator. One of them will have almost certainly come loose. You will then need to recharge the accumulator pressure. This is done using the same gauge and tap that you used to check the accumulator pressure. You will connect up exactly as you did before and then connect the other end to the back of the saw motor where you checked your 150 bar. Once you have your gauge attached, then you will need to run the saw to its full extent and keep running it until it returns all the way back into the box. Now with the machine switched off again, you can read the pressure on the gauge. you'll see that this is reading just over 30 bar. To let that back down to 20, open the tap slightly, you'll see it drop right back to 0, close the tap again, and the gauge will come up and give you a reading. You'll need to do this several times until it drops back to 20 bar. And then remove the gauge from this end, replace the caps,